tell to all the parents, never ever doubt your own parenting technique also, no matter whatever people tell you. Even I come and tell you, please do not doubt your parenting, because you know the best for your child. Nobody knows.
Exactly.
Nobody knows that. So
follow
I was sharing
your instinct always. Read everything, but follow your instinct.
Exactly. I mean, learn from people, but then, when it comes to deciding, taking a decision, you have the wisdom. You have the wisdom. You have everything with you. That's how we can just give you tools. That's it.
Hi, we are the Confident Communicator, and I am Seema Mehta, along with my partner, Deepma Jadeja. Welcome to Imperfect Parenting. Together, let's get on a journey of discovering kindness, success, and happiness courageously, fearlessly, and by holding ourselves to a standard of grace, not perfection. It is our mission at the Confident Communicator to empower kids and adults discover their own uniqueness through our coaching, training, and soft skills program. We welcome you to a new chapter of Imperfect Parenting, a series dedicated to discovering our own uniqueness without judgment by chiseling away all superfluous materials within ourselves.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Imperfect Parenting. I'm joined here with my partner, Seema Mehta, partner and co-founder at the Confident Communicator. And our topic today at Imperfect Parenting is super interesting and super relevant to every parent. As parents, we're constantly worried about, am I doing the right thing? Am I disciplining my child enough? Am I not disciplining my child enough? Am I traumatizing my kids? Am I stressing them out? And here's the word that comes: stress. Am I stressing my children out? In trying not to stress them out, I'm stressing myself out. And we're constantly using this word. And we tend to think of stress as a bad thing. Today, our guest is going to debunk a few myths about stress and whether stress is always a bad thing or is it sometimes a good thing. And also, she's going to talk to us about how children are facing so many challenges today. Children are facing so many changes, and stress is a response to change. So how do we empower our children to deal with the different stresses that they go through in life? I'm very excited today to welcome Shipra Magon. She's a yoga and health management expert with 40 plus years experience. Now, she looks 20, so I don't know how she has 40 years experience.
Let's do the math, yeah.
Let's do the math here. It's not enough. But Shipra has done a lot of yoga, breathing, health management workshops at pharmaceutical companies and other corporations for adults. And she's also done pranic healing. She has done breathing and stress relieving workshops for colleges and children. So who better to help us with our stress as parents, imperfect parents, and who better to help our children deal with their stresses better? So welcome, Shipra, to our session on stress today.
Thank you so much. Namaskar, everybody. And thank you so much, Deepma and Seema, for having me here. And you are absolutely correct that the word itself, stress, doesn't mean that you need to be stressful. In fact, is a myth that we need to bust. And you set the ball rolling when you said that it is basically a change, a response that body has. So if you allow me 1 minute, physiologically, I'll decode what is stress. So then it is very easier for us. And this is courtesy my pharmaceutical background. And we always believe that it is important to marry the ancient traditions that we have to the existing scientific tenor.
Very true.
And would you believe that our ancient traditions are very scientific in nature? In fact, they are not, I would say, as we say that these are quacks. So these are not quacks. These are absolutely documented, very scientific. And now the Western world is also looking into the research and going ahead with it. So first of all, let us decode what is stress. So any kind of an unfavorable change which happens in the environment, and this is a body as we can see. And in yoga, we basically say that this is the outermost layer of the body, which we say Annamaya Kosha. So Annamaya Kosha is the outermost sheath of the body, right? And we've got certain other koshas. Let's leave that for the another day of our discussion. So whenever changes are happening in our environment, they tend to affect us. They tend to affect the body. We will start with the body first. So body manifests a certain kind of responses. Now, how do these responses happen? I'll make it very simple because people are there. So I'm just bringing out 3 fingers like this. And may I request the ladies to bring out their 3 fingers as well? Okay. And I believe everybody knows this. So this is flight, fight, and fear. So whenever there are 3 conditions, one category flight, the other category fight, the third category fear, stress gets manifested. Now, what is flight? Flight is any kind of rigorous activity, any kind of rigorous activity that takes your heartbeat higher. So you can think of any rigorous activity. It could be as simple as climbing up a stairs. It could be like jogging. It could be like playing tennis, or it could be simply getting agitated and heated up, and then your heart goes tuck, 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 tuck. So anything that takes your heartbeat higher is flight.
Raises the heartbeat. Okay. Okay.
That's the flight, right? Now come to fight. Now, anything this basically changes your behavioral tenor. Suddenly, you are very soft and calm, and so you go like that. Again, the voice changes, the agitation creeps in, right?
So that's some like kind anger.
Anger, irritation, irritability, right? Irritability. I'm giving the symptoms of irritabilities. Your tone changes. Now, if you're sounding very sweet like this, hi, Deepma. If I'm irritated with Deepma, probably I'll say, hi, Deepma.
Correct.
That softness and that sweetness from my voice is going to vanish. Or probably when somebody say, welcome, Shipra. So I'll, reply back. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So what? Good to see you. Same here, and I'm not being very warm. I'm not being very affectionate.
Very true.
So it's very easy to understand. Everybody understands that this person is not in the best frame of mind. So flight and then fight. Fight is not only like the physical fighting and bisham and bisham, the body which like kutte khoon pi jaunga and those kind of things.
Love it. Love your analogies.
The fight is what you are having probably inside your mind also. Should I wear my pink color dress today or should I wear my red color dress today? And, should I be going and purchasing that thing? No. What will my sasuma tell me? What kind of purchase you have made? You silly woman of 50 years of age, you don't know how to purchase things. So there's a lot of struggle which is going in your mind. So fight can be physical, fight can be emotional, fight can be mental. Now let's come to the last category I told you. I'm just doing a small testing. Do you remember the last category?
Fight, flight, and fear.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Well done.
Where's my prize?
You get a cookie point.
Thank you.
So fear is that kind of feeling of apprehension. What will happen? Correct. What will happen? And what will happen happens to us when we do not know what will happen. And then you start thinking of things which may or may not happen. So it's like you're cooking up stories. You're cooking up stories because it hasn't happened as yet. So that is fear. Now, what happens in all these 3 categories? Now, fear can be physical also. Like, for example, if I am standing here in front of you, with my chaku like this, and then you are fearful. But you want to protect yourself.
Move back. Yeah.
You want to protect yourself. Of course, like you'll move back or you'll show your body here and there or whatever. You will prepare to basically, take care of, navigate through that attack of that dagger, right? And it is basically filling you with fear. Now, what is the common thing which is happening in 1, 2, 3? The first was rigorous physical activity. The second was basically the fight part of it, the struggle part of it. The third was the fearful part of it. In all these 3, even though I said in the first one, the heartbeat goes high, if you'll just think 20 seconds, all of us are viewers, if they'll also think 20 seconds, your heartbeat goes higher in all these 3 categories. So fearful. Let me give an example. You're taking a morning walk, right? So blissful, so happy today. I got up early. I'm loving it. And suddenly you find, boo! And you are fearful of dogs like anything, right? I mean, since your childhood, you were traumatized because of a bad incident. Now, anytime a dog approaches, you become very, very, very cautious. You become stiff, or you want to do shh, 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 and just keep your hand there, and you will find your heart is tuk, 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 tuk. Now, what all this is manifesting in your body is known as stress. So the raising up of your heartbeat along with the raising of your breathing.
Yes, the shallow
You
breath.
don't realize this, and the heartbeat is basically your body's response to prepare and navigate through flight, fight, and fear. And why has that happened? There's a simple chemical substance which has been released in your blood, which is adrenaline.
Correct.
And adrenaline rush basically makes it, yes, I have to do it. I'm prepared. So not all of it is bad, because if it doesn't prepare you, the dog is going to come and bite you. Now replace the dog with the tiger. If you're frozen, you do nothing. You're gone. You're a nice meal for that tiger that day. The tiger said, yummy, I love it. And let me go, become a man eater now, or a woman eater. Right?
Correct,
It would be a
correct.
good idea.
So, Shipra, you're talking about stress and the adrenaline rush that releases in order for you to prepare to either run or to fight or to, you need that fear. But when are the times when stress is a good thing? Is there any time when,
In fact,
having stress is a good thing?
In fact, I was thinking the same thing, is because, we in our leadership communication program, we talk to our children about stress as in reference to mindset. So, for example, one of the questions we asked our kids is, what is your mindset towards stress? Because stress can also be a motivator. It could be something that motivates you to do better. It's something that can say, one of the reasons why you are stressed out is because you care about that situation.
Correct.
Nothing can affect you unless you care about it. So if you look at stress from a very different perspective, as a mindset, where your mindset that, I look at stress as a challenge. Of course, in a situation of fear, where there's a dog or a man-eater in front of you, obviously you cannot have the mindset of, oh, this is a very challenging situation and that I should hang around you. Obviously, you're going to run. So I think what Deepma is trying to ask is that how do we distinguish between, because I think we've been conditioned as a society to look at stress as a negative emotion, but it could be used as a positive emotion too, depending on what your mindset and the situation is. What do you think of that?
So I agree with both of you, and absolutely correct. In fact, stress is basically a positive tool. So I will divide stress now as eustress, again 2 fingers, eustress and distress. Eustress and distress. And it is about mindset. So as you were saying, Seema, the man eater is there. Obviously, it's a challenging situation. And you're telling yourself, I've got to do something about it. And what do? The best thing to do at that point of time is to run. It's not like, moving away from the challenge. It is like providing a solution, the best solution for the challenge.
Correct.
So it's a good thing you have done. I mean, you've not shown your back.
It's still a positive. Yeah.
You have accepted it. Acceptance is the biggest part because it prepares you. Now, as you said with leadership trainings, that is the first thing it happens. First, accept your situation.
Yeah.
And then see what you can do about it. What
so
are the
awareness
options?
And then acceptance. Once you are aware and you're mindful, and then you accept. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
And that is what it means. Now, what happens? Now, what people understand as stress is, imagine your body in that long stage of response, continuous stage of response like this. Isn't that going to be bad for your body? Continuous shallow breathing, continuous palpitation, continuous raised heartbeat. Isn't that a bad idea for your body to be in?
Absolutely.
Very, very bad, because this is not a normalized body condition.
Yeah.
This is an exaggerated condition.
That's so true. What you're saying is it's hitting me, because when it's a situation with a tiger, right? You deal with the situation, you run, you're either safe or you're not, one or the other situation happens, and then you're done, right? And then you go on living the rest of your life. But what is happening in today's generation is it's one tiger after the other. So you're doing the continuous shallow breathing and the continuous palpitations and the high heartbeat and all of that. So how do you deal with that? So stress when it's a tiger, Shipra, you know, you the tiger's in front of you, you're afraid for your life, your heart rate goes up, your shallow breathing, your adrenaline shot comes and you run. And that's great because you need it. You need that adrenaline to go into the flight response and run away from the tiger and save your life. What happens when this adrenaline shot in today's generation, when there are no tigers, you know, keeps coming over and over again? So you keep getting adrenaline into your bloodstream for different situations, instead of having just one in a day or one in a week like it used to be in you know, with our ancestors. Today it's like every 20 minutes you're dealing with a new situation that's making your heart rate go up. How do you handle this, and how do you, like Seema said, how do you develop that mindset where you are able to categorize that what kind of stress is this and how do I need to respond?
Yeah, thank you so much. So as I was saying, see, the manifestation of body is like this, that it prepares you and then it's done. Now, as I said, what will happen to you if this is very prolonged? Now, this is where the word comes like chronic. And that is why we say chronic stress. So what are the different symptoms which are basically visible to people and to the person himself or herself? Are emotional disturbances,
Yes,
physical disturbances, and mental disturbances.
Yeah.
And some very common physical manifestations are lack of sleep or oversleep, contradictions, eating too much or not eating at all, again contradiction, right? Going into the shell, stop speaking to people, or speaking too much. Right? So both the things are basically examples of chronic stress.
Right.
Now, why that chronic stress has come? Has that come to us because of this bombardment of information from outside? Or is it because you got to perform in a certain way to remain relevant in your particular niche or society or group or school or college or family? What is it? And I've got one single answer for that, and that's mentioned in Gita also, Bhagavad Gita also. There's only one reason for our miseries and one reason for chronic stress, distress, and that is expectation. That's all. So whenever I have expectation from myself, when somebody else has expectations from me, and my surroundings have expectations from me, and I want to fulfill my expectations, A's expectations, B's expectations, society's expectations, colleagues' expectations, peers' expectations, friends' expectations. And that is the time my adrenaline is always high, because I am trying to do it all the time. I will do it. There is never lock. Slow down, relax. It's always do it. And that is the reason. So parents have expectations. So Sharma ji ka beta dekho kitna acha kar raha hai. Unki beti dekho kya kar rahi hai. And okay, parents don't say, don't take it that way. Parents, you know, my apologies to you. The child has, Mama, you know, Niharika did like that, and Simran did like that, and now I can't do like that. And why I can't do like that? Now I have built in a certain set of expectations.
yes.
So today the world is have goals, have objectives, have this, and then achieve them. It is everything result oriented. So when it is result oriented, then you will get stress. That is
very true. I'm noticing that even with the way our education system is set up, right? Where every week you have a test, or every week something's graded, or every month you have unit tests, every 3 months you have, you know, a quarterly exam, then you have a semester, then you've got your extracurriculars. And so it's the expectations. And I think maybe as parents, we need to come in a little earlier and say to our children that there's 20 expectations, but now let's sit down and see what are priorities. Expectations and priorities, I guess, need to be segregated. You can't achieve everything.
No, and that is exactly why, again, I'll go back to our leadership communication program. One of the things that we do, because we do teach goal setting, but we do it with a bit of a difference, where we say, don't tie yourself to a goal, tie yourself to a purpose. There's a difference. When you tie yourself to a purpose is when you will start aligning what your value system or your ethos is along with your competency. Because there is no doubt that every single human being is unique. What happens is we don't focus so much on our own uniqueness and build on it. Instead, we keep trying to, like Shipra, you said, is meeting the expectation of others, meeting the expectation of our own self, the pressure that we put on our own selves, or the pressure that our parents or our teachers, our educators are putting it. And that's why children today are dealing through a lot of mental stress. And thanks to social media and technology, it is just spreading much faster than it used to before. So I think you're absolutely right. It's a lot to do with the expectation, and it's how you look at it. Your life should be tied to purpose, not goals. Yeah.
True. Absolutely agree with that. And like yesterday only, I was watching a news channel and 3 different news back to back. And I have my 15-year-old daughter sitting next to me. And the first news is this: the 14-year-old kills ABC. I said, oh. And the next news is the 15-year-old commits suicide.
Oh boy.
And then I said, okay, what is the next one which is coming?
Yeah.
Back to back. And then they show a clip where a 12-year-old kid robs the scooty of a person. And then my daughter looks at me. I don't look at my daughter. She looks at me and she says, Mama, ye sab kya ho raha hai?
Yeah.
And then I looked back at her and then I said, Beta, ye sab kya ho raha hai? Why do you think this is happening? So because this is like bombardment of so many things, like expectations that to be this, to be this and to be cool, you got to have these things. And if you do not have these things with you, okay, go find out all the means to procure those things. And if you cannot procure those things, you are useless. Your life is not meant to be lived. And you are a boj or a burden on the planet, so better go away. Yeah. And that is what is building up. And as you correctly said, Seema, that uniqueness is not being given the time to nourish or nurture.
Correct.
So it is more like a penguin parade, platoon, yes sir, everybody parading together and parroting also the same way.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another example of my own son. After 12th, now he's in first year. He wanted very much to join Indian Army. He still has that aim. And the boy, he put in his efforts and everything. He appeared for his ND exam. He was like approaching 18. At that was the time he took his first exam, the first chance he had. He was still in 12th. And he performed wonderfully well, but he couldn't clear one of the cutoffs. In one cutoffs, he was like 350 marks above the cutoff. In the second cutoff, he was 1 mark less.
Oh.
And I was like, this is like, how is he going to handle it?
Handle this.
Failing miserably, it's easy to take. But when you are so close and with the kind of the total marks which he had was like putting him in the merit of, if you would see, it was putting him in the merit of, top 20 people, scorers.
Yeah.
But he couldn't clear it because he was 1 mark less in one particular cutoff. So I was like, this is horrendous. And this is like huge for a child who's yet to turn 18.
Right.
And how is he going to take it? And I was like, so he saw it and he told me, I looked at his face, trying to search as a mother, where are those tears and where is that softness of, the muscles happening, so that I can tell him, cuddle him and say, okay, bache, and all that stuff and all. I kept looking at him and kept looking at him, nothing. then I thought that maybe he's gone silent inside when when he doesn't want to
Needs
like
a little place. Yeah.
and I left him. Then I thought that he's gone on the terrace and he's sitting quietly. I said, okay, let him sit. I also went on the terrace and I sat next to him, without touching him, without disturbing him, without trying to. And then I simply asked Mela, okay, beta, what do you think you would want to do next? The moment I said that, he looked at me and then he smiled. He said, kya karna hai, mama, dobara dunga.
Lovely.
Wow, beautiful.
And then I said, बुरा नहीं लगा. Then he said, लगा है ना मम्मी बुरा. लेकिन मम्मी आप मार्क्स देखे मेरे? 350 marks ऊपर हूँ मैं. That's what he said. उस level पे. Can you see my level? At that point of time, I felt, oh God, my parenting has been correct.
You
He
did a
has
good job,
chosen to
Aman.
see the positive side.
Great job. Yes.
He
You've
has
done a
chosen
great
to
job.
see the positive
But
side.
I would like to caution here. I mean, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. That you are extremely fortunate to be that parent, and you're, of course, all credit to your parenting style. But there will be some children who will be deeply disappointed, and maybe they've not been given the. And we'll talk, and I hope they will be talking
Exactly,
about
and
how
that
to
is
make.
where I was leading this to.
Yeah, I hope
That is
we'll be
where I
talking
was
about.
leading this to. And
No,
why he was able to do this, I was coming to that only. Why he was able to do this is because of certain things. Like I was
Yes.
giving that compliment to myself. It was because way down, since he was very young, and with my daughter also, only 8 or 9, and we all believe, see, we have a very disciplined environment at my work home. I mean, I being born and brought up in a defense environment, so I tend to be that kind of a strict mother for certain things. I mean, things have to be organized, neat, prim and proper. Certain things need to be followed, and then you've got your own space. Now you do whatever you want to do, but certain things have to be very, very organized. It's like, because certain things got conditioned into me, and I thought that they worked very well, so I'm sort of trying to
Absolutely.
reproduce the same
Pass it
thing.
on.
That is how
What
usually
what works. Yeah.
So I thought it worked very well for me and my siblings, so it is going to work very well for my. So it's like trying and testing, experimenting. And here I would like to tell to all the parents, never ever doubt your own parenting technique also, no matter whatever people
Yes.
tell you. Even I come and tell you, please do not doubt your parenting, because you know the best for your child. Nobody knows.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
Nobody
So
knows
true.
that. So I
Follow
was sharing.
your instinct always.
Yeah,
Read
exactly.
everything, but follow your instinct. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, learn from people, but then, when it comes to deciding, taking a decision, you have the wisdom. You have the wisdom. You have everything with you. That's how we can just give you tools. That's it.
Exactly.
So what I noticed, what was different was, and simple things. When I used to go to the PTM for both my son, because now he's in college, and I still go for my daughter, I never ever questioned the teacher about the marks. I never argued with them half mark there or 1 mark there.
Correct.
My questions were always, how is she interacting with other children? Does she take responsibility in the class? Does she come forward? How is she good in taking up setbacks? And that is what I started asking, even
That's
when they were in
wonderful.
kindergarten.
That's very
And when
good.
I started doing that, after so many years, I had teachers coming and telling me, you're the only parent who comes and asks these things.
Correct.
And then it started reflecting in my children also, because every day when they used to come back from the school, so aaj school mein kya kiya? How was your day at school? And that was a simple question I made at a point ki पूछना ही है. Many times I used to travel to phone pe, what happened in school today? आज क्या हुआ? So child like अपनी excitement दिल से, मैथ्स की टीचर ने ये कराया, वो ये हुआ, फिर ये हुआ, बॉल खेली, हा 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 हा, टिफिन खा लिया. All these things, all bridge them up and kind of a bite, some bite. And they started picking it up from there. And they started becoming mature from there and wise from there. And they learned कि discipline तो ठीक है, but changes आते ही रहेंगे. So accept the changes, and changes may happen on daily basis also. Be ready to embrace
there is an interesting thing that I had heard recently, where this guy talks about, supposing your child comes to you with disappointment, and that's what I was trying to say earlier, and you beautifully explained how it worked for your son and your daughter. But there are lots of children who will be disappointed, right? And
Exactly.
that's part of life. I mean, when things go wrong, and maybe your son will take it in the right spirit, maybe he will not take it in the right spirit. That can also happen. Both options are possible. Anything can happen. So what this expert was saying is that when your child is coming to you and saying that I'm very disappointed, the instinct of the parent is to try and fix it. Okay, beta, let's do this, let's try this, ye karenge, wo karenge. And invariably that fails. And the reason why it fails is that they want you to come into their world, which is right now this world of feeling very low, disappointed, and you're saying, "Arey beta, I'll take care of everything. Don't worry, we'll fix it." Instead of doing that, all they want is for you to listen. So, when you say that your children come back from school and you ask, "Kitne marks mile?" No, let's not start with that. Let's start with, "Kiske saath lunch khaya? Kaun nahi aaya? Aaj kuch interesting hua? School mein kya hua?" These are the questions that we need to ask our children instead of going straight into the expectation list. Did you do your homework? Did you submit?
Exactly.
Did you get good marks?
Exactly. And as you very correctly said, disappointment wali baat. So if you would recollect, when I asked apne beta bura nahi laga, then what did he say? Bura laga, mummy.
Laga, yes.
So acceptance बहुत important, acknowledgement important. When your child says कि मुझे बुरा लग रहा है, you should also say, हाँ बेटा मुझे मालूम है आपको बुरा लग रहा है.
Exactly.
You cannot say negate that feeling. बुरा लगने की क्या बात है?
Correct. Yeah. Don't try to fix it and don't try to invalidate your feelings.
I have another example with Karela. I wanted to share.
Please share.
Karela sabji, bitter gourd sabji. So, I love that sabji, but till date, my children don't love that sabji, but they eat. But बहुत जब छोटे थे, so it was like, how to, at least make them sample that particular kind of sabji. I didn't want to be very forceful and a mean mother kind of a thing. But I wanted to develop them the taste for variety kind of food. One. Secondly, there are certain nutrients which are available in certain vegetables, only certain things. Karela is just an example that I'm citing. For many children, parents say gilki nahi khata, kaddu nahi khata, and the child wants to eat aloo or paneer only, something of those kind of things. So I still remember, very, very, very young, my daughter was pretty, she must be only 4 years of age, and I had made this Karela. So I just put one spoon only in their plate, just much of this. Then she looked at it and she, scowled and made her, आप मम्मा बिल्कुल प्यार नहीं करते हो हमसे. अभी आप ये सब्जी देते हो. So the explicit communication is that you don't love me, right? But what is implicit here? If you had loved me, you wouldn't have served me Karela. And that was what was important for me to catch on. So I had to catch on. I said, हाँ बेटा, आपका ऐसा लगना ठीक है कि मम्मा आपको प्यार नहीं कर रही क्योंकि करेला खिला रही है.
Correct.
आपका ऐसा सोचना आपको लग सकता है, आप ठीक सोच रहे हो बेटा कि मम्मा करेला खा रही है.
So you are validating their feelings, what they are feeling. You are validating it. Yeah.
I said that, and the moment I said that, then she was मम्मी आप भी ऐसा फील कर रहे हैं. मैंने हाँ बेटा फील हो रहा है. Then she said, "मम्मा बुरा मत फील करो, मुझे मालूम है आप प्यार करते हो."
So she reached that conclusion by herself. Yeah. And that's the beauty.
And I gave it to her. Yeah, so I gave it to her. I left it for her understand. And look at her age; she's only 4 years of age.
Correct.
She's only 4 years of age. Then I said, "बेटा, you know what? मम्मा को भी करेला अच्छा नहीं लगता." पर मैंने बेटा हैबिट बनाई खाने की. क्यों? मम्मा कितनी दुबली पतली थी, मम्मा की पिक्स देखी हैं आपने. फिर डॉक्टर ने बोला स्ट्रॉन्ग होना पड़ता है, दुबला पतला ठीक है, स्ट्रॉन्ग अंदर से होना पड़ता है. फिर इसमें कुछ चीजें थी. भैया से पूछो, है ना भैया, कुछ होते हैं ना इसमें मिनरल्स. तो भैया को ऊपर वाली ईगो बूस्ट कर दिया. भैया कहते हैं हाँ मम्मा मिनरल्स होते हैं. भैया इज only 8 years of age. उसको कुछ नहीं मालूम. तो वो ये सही. हाँ कैंडी होते मुझे मालूम है, हमारी साइंस टीचर ने बताया था, होते होते मम्मी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं। तो बेटा टेस्ट नहीं अच्छा लगता फिर भी हम लोग खा लेते हैं ना बेबी, ओनली 1 स्पून, एंड उसके बाद देन उसको ठीक करेंगे। टेस्ट जो को प्लेट में कौन सी टेस्टी चीज है आपकी फेवरेट, मम्मा दही है अच्छा वही खा लेना ऊपर से। आई नेवर सेड ये खा लो तो आई विल गिव यू गुलाब जामुन, ये खा लो तो आई विल गिव यू चॉकलेट, ये खा लो तो आई विल टेक यू टू आइसक्रीम पार्टी, नो, बिकॉज दैट इज ब्राइबिंग एंड देन द एक्सपेक्टेशन सेटिंग। मैं तो तभी खाऊंगी जब आप मुझे
Yes.
I love that you bring this up, Shipra, because it's suddenly reminding me of another imperfect parenting that we did with a nutritionist. And she said the exact same thing. She said, why do you make broccoli and carrot? Why do you make that the punishment? And why do you make gulab jamun and candy and sweets as the reward? Right?
yes.
What if we switch it all together? Because when they're small, they have no idea. So what if we take broccoli and say, wow, yum, this is amazing, this is cool, let's have that, and how can we make it more delicious, or how can we make it more tasty? So I love that you're using that, and I love that you're using both your children to help each other understand what you are trying to teach them. Another thing that Seema said, which I want to kind of explore a little further here, is the invalidating. And I have noticed myself doing that in the fixing of our children's emotions. What we tend to do is, इतना बुरा लगने की जरूरत नहीं है, just think of all the things you have, be grateful for everything you have. In the moment, they are not interested in being grateful, right? They are interested in wallowing in their misery. So you have to go sit with them and wallow with them, like you went and sat with your son. We also tend to invalidate often the happy moments, right? So when they're very excited and when they're very happy, they're like, I got the highest in the class and all. You're immediately thinking, oh, that's great, then maybe we should go on to the next chapter, and maybe we should make you study a little. Array, just enjoy right now. So the mindfulness that you were talking about earlier becomes so important, right? So how do you, number one, how do you do that? How do you instill a sense of mindfulness and patience in yourself so that it comes into your children? But the second thing also is, how do you then, if they are stressed, good stressed or bad stressed, how do you handle it and take them further from there?
True. So let's get truly into the functional mode now. So as I say, stress can be handled in 3 different ways. I always love to bring out 3 fingers. It becomes easier that way. So there's an action-oriented approach, there's an emotion-oriented approach, and there's an acceptance-oriented approach. So acceptance, so we all understand and we've understood. Acceptance is, this is what is, undergoing my mind, and I accept. And that is the first stage of emotional intelligence also, that being aware that this is what is happening inside me. Now to relate to this, let me take you to Three Idiots movie. I believe all of us have watched this movie.
Yes.
Three Idiots with Amir Khan, Rancho, and 2 friends he has, Farhan and Raju. And there's one particular scene out here when the results have been declared and they've been pasted on the wall. And these 2 gentlemen, and they are first-year students. Rancho is not there. Rancho was played by Amir Khan. So Farhan and Raju, they want to check, what has happened to them, what has been their fate in the exams. And they're poor performers. They're primarily backbenchers. So one of them sees and comes back and says that I am last and you are second last. So both the friends are like last and the second last position. And then they, discuss between themselves that, oh my God, Rancho's name is not on the list. Poor guy, he's failed. I feel so bad for him. So one of them says, no, he's not failed. He stopped the class. And then comes a nice statement that this is the first time that we have realized that if your friend fails, you feel very bad. But if your friend tops, you feel worse.
Yes, that's true.
So the
and that was a joke that time, but it's so true, na? That also causes stress because of the comparison.
Yes, and because people would say that is envy, people would say that is jealousy, or I would say it is competitiveness. Nowadays, it is competitiveness, and that is where the expectation, lies heavily on your mind that my friend could do it, my classmate could do it, my bestie could do it, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Correct.
And shame on me internally. That's funny. And
Yeah.
shame on me, I couldn't do it.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and that kind of, nobody shames you, but you shame yourself. That's how it is.
Absolutely.
So that is about, so acceptance oriented is basically you first accept it. Okay, I'm feeling bad and there's nothing to feel bad about it. Okay, I'm shamelessly, expecting this or accepting it. ठीक है, friend, ऐसा है, मुझे बुरा लग रहा है. Okay, now I will manage my emotions now.
Correct.
Now that I've accepted, now I will manage my emotions. You know, whatever outburst I have. People say if you're angry, you should not shout. And I tell them, for children, for young children, do not limit them. Let them go out to a tree, like which I used to do. And I've shared earlier also so many, and let them hug the tree tightly and cry their heart out.
Yes.
Or if they're becoming aggressive, if they are becoming aggressive, let them kick the tree hard and then say, sorry, I'm sorry I kicked you hard, but let them bring it out rather than banging their head here and there, listening to loud music or, tearing pages and shouting back and those things. Let them do it because they are very little children. I'm talking of the age group which is below 10. They just don't know how to do it. They just want to scream because they are in distress.
Yeah.
They want some kind of attention. Please look at me. Please help me. They don't know what to do about it. And at that point of time, if you slap them, threaten them and say, behave yourself, that never ever works.
Yeah. Let
Never
them
ever.
express, because once it comes out, it doesn't sound as bad. It isn't as bad. It isn't the end of the world. And they realize it by themselves that it's not the end. But that expression, there's so many times in our enthusiasm to fix, we kind of come in the middle of that expression phase, and that shouldn't happen. That's such a great advice.
Exactly. And now coming to the emotion is like, for example, when I say this, okay, let them, give them that kind of space for outburst. I've heard people telling me कि घर में doggy था तो doggy के कान नोच लिए जाके गुस्से में, doggy की पूंछ खींच दी. Now this is where you got to tell them that your emotions need to be managed. That's why I brought that tree. You don't go and do these things.
Yes.
Just because your pet dog cannot come back. Even that poor dog, वो तो आपका भक्त है. You treat the dog, like this, still the dog is going to wag your tail next time you offer food. But that is no way of treating.
Not acceptable. So again, appropriate, inappropriate forms of expression.
Exactly.
And I think that has to come earlier.
You have to talk about, you have to identify what the problem is, and then you have to attach, like, what is the emotion you are feeling? Are you feeling anger? Are you feeling frustration? Are you feeling bitterness? Are you feeling jealousy? Are you feeling complete frustration or self-loathing? What is the emotion that you are feeling? And then you connect the action to that emotion. Agar aapko bahut hi frustration ho raha hai, go for a run. If you are very angry, let the steam go out, maybe go hug a tree or stand in the balcony for 10 minutes. Calm down, cool down, then we will respond. Don't respond immediately. So I think identifying the emotion and then taking the action is very important. And I think parents can guide the children in that direction. Yeah.
Absolutely correct. And the last is action oriented, which is the easiest to do. And action is basically like kinesthetic, physical. So one of the best things, now you give an example yourself, is go and run. So all these activities, wherever you are involving your body, running, or let's say taking a walk, or maybe say for some people, it feels good when they draw.
Yeah.
So drawing those kind of, but not eating. I'm safeguarding, but caution and not eating, because at this point of time, when you eat sweet things, it feels good because physiologically it works that way.
Because your dopamine gets released, right? You're having a chocolate bar or a nice cookie, a cupcake, and then you're feeling so good because that.
And the physiology is that the glucose, it starts, the starch, it starts melting, it starts, digestion starts in the mouth itself. For proteins and all, it starts way here. So it starts here only, it starts giving you those kind of heavenly feelings and those kind of things. So therefore, उसको avoid करना है. The idea is कि बच्चा रो रहा है, lollipop मुंह में डालते हैं ना, those kind of things. That needs to be avoided. Rather than playing, let's play a game, है ना, those kind of things. ये वाला जो game होता है, ये इस तरीके की चीजें, physical वाली चीजें की जा सकती हैं. Or talking to a friend, that can be done. For teenage people, for them, speaking to their friend is always a good thing. And we all have confided in our friends, and that's why we felt good. Today's problem is this. We have a big circle, but we don't have friends.
We have a lot of likes and followers, but we don't have friends. Yeah.
और हमारे बच्चों के साथ भी ऐसा ही है. Because if you see, तो वो दोस्ती खास चीज के लिए होती है, इतने
Yeah.
बजे आ जा, उतने बजे पिकअप कर ले, इतना टाइम. But when it comes to real things, like why don't you fall back on that person for this thing? I cannot ask this favor. This is how children come back and tell you. Then you realize that वो real bonding या camaraderie नहीं है वहाँ पे. And it's okay.
Yeah. One of the things, Shipra, I really am hearing you say throughout this interview, throughout the episode. Well, there's a couple of things that are coming out so strongly for me. One is this friendship thing. And I have noticed that with a lot of our parents that we talk to, right? But that Seema and I talk to when we do our classes with our children, is that they will come back and they'll say, I am my child's best friend, or I want to be my child's best friend. And there is where we kind of come in and say, no, enable them and empower them to make other best friends outside of the home who they can lean on without having to come to you. So when the parent tries to go away from the parenting role and tries to become the friend of the child, I think there's a problem, because there are two distinct functions that are there here. The friend ka function is friend wala function, who he has to enable and empower you for everything. And the parent ka function is completely different. Why are you mixing it up and then feeling bad that they are not your friend or you're not their best friend, and you're confusing them? And the second thing I'm realizing is conversations. We always tend to get into a conversation with our children when there's a problem. Chalo, abhi baith ke baat karte hain. But they're not used to it because we've not made that habit. When there was nothing wrong, when everything was going fine, when life was very smooth, we didn't have conversations. Abhi kharab ho gaya, to abhi conversation karna hai. Abhi un log ko nahi karna hai conversation. So those are the things I think that are, I think if we had those conversations earlier on, then when it came time to help them handle stress, like you're going to teach us how to, help them do the breathing and all, they'll be more open to it if you've already built that foundation with them when there was nothing wrong. What do you say to that? Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally
I'm
vouch
sorry,
for that.
I'm having some work done upstairs and there's a lot of noise. Sorry
No,
about
that's
that.
absolutely fine, and no need to apologize. It looks as if we are from our home and beautiful home, so it is giving us that kind of homely ambience also. It's not
I think
making us look very plastic.
our series is called Imperfect Parenting for a reason, because we really think that if we try to do everything perfect, that's where the pressure and the expectation, you just talked about that earlier. So we call our series Imperfect Parenting because even parenting as a journey is not perfect. Our life is not perfect. And I think the minute we start embracing these imperfections, I think we are going to be much more relaxed and stress-free people. But I'll let you talk more, Shipra.
Absolutely. So I'll just take a small twig from what Deepa said, the big tree. So I always tell people, if you want to be like friends with your children, so I say be friendly, but not friend.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes.
That is the minute difference. Be friendly. And to be friendly is to be congenial, give them that kind of environment so that you are accessible and available whenever they want to talk to you. Now that is friendly. But stay away from being a friend in the sense because they want to confide, and that comes only with people of their wavelength. I'm not saying age group, wavelength. And probably we are not at their wavelength. So do not try and tell yourself to arrive at that wavelength and understand those things, because the physiological changes which they are having right now, you also had it when you were 15 or 13 or 18. But then trying to say, मेरे साथ भी तो हुआ था, हम भी स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल रह चुके हैं जिसमें तुम अभी बच्चे हो. That is illogical. क्योंकि हमारे टाइम के समय में हमारा
the world is different. The world is different. It was a different world.
आपके टाइम का स्कूल अब अलग हो गया, तो वो जो सीख रहे हैं वो अलग हो गया, तो उसको बिल्कुल भी मैच करने की कोशिश तो करो ही मत, राइट? So don't do it. So वो वाला काम आपने करना ही नहीं है. So just leave it. So as I was saying कि आपका जो एक्शन ओरिएंटेड अप्रोच के अंदर फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज करो, encourage your child on daily basis, whatever the age, to engage himself or herself or themselves in 30 minutes of some physical activity, which means moving their legs and hands, running, jogging, playing, climbing up the stairs, moving around. Even like today the people put on this and they are walking and talking. So when they are walking, they say walk fast.
Yeah.
Walk fast. What is walking fast? So at least you have some kind of slight breathlessness, right?
Yeah.
Walk fast. Don't not stroll. You're not Dadaji and you're strolling, right? Don't stroll unless until you've got some issues in your legs. Don't stroll. So that 30 minutes is very, very important. कब करना है? रात के dinner के बाद भी हो सकता है.
And what does that do, Shipra? Well, let's talk about the science behind it, because I know that when you start becoming more and more active, it releases some kind of a hormone, right? Some
Yes,
oxytocin,
yes.
dopamine, whatever it is. So let's give this very skeptical generation a reason, a scientific reason why that is important.
Yeah, so the scientific reason is, as Seema is correctly saying, it's basically endorphin. So there are 4 happiness chemicals, but right now we are basically focusing on endorphin because this is the one which is released whenever you engage in any kind of physical activity.
Yeah.
So even if you clap like this, and let's clap it, right? So if it is very difficult to move your child, we will just clap and we will clap like this. The art of clapping is we do not clap like this. The art of clapping is this. All the pressure points, sticking to each other. So we go slow, 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 then fast, fast, fast. And we go on clapping for entirely 1 minute. And then this is going to start hurting. That's okay. Let them hurt. Some kind of massage to your shoulders, your deltoids, your back muscles, your biceps and your triceps. This is all going to, I can show my muscles as well that way. So let's do it. And then you can, tell the audience how you felt after doing this.
Sure.
Let's start.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fast, 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 fast. Go fast, faster, faster. As fast as you can. Now don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. And try and bring your hand from a bigger distance, like this. Yes, yes, yes. Don't stop. I know the urge is there to stop now. The lactic acid is building up. In your biceps and triceps. Okay, don't stop. No, don't stop. You still have got some few seconds to go. Okay, you can do it. Just hang on. Stop. And if you are like this, how do
You
you
feel the heat? The heat has started forming. Yes.
I started smiling. Both of you started smiling. Did you see that smile?
Yeah.
Everybody was watching us. Did you
mood.
see us smiling and happy? I mean, after ending, none of us was like this.
Yeah.
We
were very energized. We get very
like, what was this? Ha ha ha! Because of the release of endorphin. So endorphin is one of those happiness chemicals that makes you feel good. It makes you feel go high. It is released only when you do physical activity. Otherwise, it is not released.
Wow.
Absolutely. And that is
brilliant.
A lot of experts have talked about
it. Good. I'm tired and I'm panting a little bit. This is hurting a little bit, but I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, what next? So you're right.
Another example of this is if you're staying in a multi-story building and you're very tired, you're coming back from somewhere, right? Tell your child, school, mama bag and all that. No, climb. And the child is coming like, it's like Kolu ka bell. So we just discussed and we just practiced one of the ways of engaging ourselves in a physical activity by clapping. And that was one of the easiest ways. Other things you can do is jogging, running, swimming, cycling, whatever activity which basically enthralls you, keeps you happy and your child happy. So do not force your child to do something which he or she doesn't like.
Very true.
Let them do whatever they feel and, which is up to their level and they enjoy it. So let them do that. Right. And now another action-oriented approach is something which is like regulation of your breathing.
Right.
And it is very easy to do and very easy to learn. And of course, I'm not pushing you into pranayamas, which has got so many other eligibilities. This is something which can be done while we are simply seated at a sofa or on our bed, or maybe we are taking a stroll, or maybe anywhere, probably for adults if you're in your office as well, or you're traveling as well. So what can you do? Let me divide it into certain categories. And today we will focus only because we are talking of stress. So we'll be talking of calming techniques. So there are two kind of breathing techniques, again, to figure out calming techniques and energizers.
Yes.
So today our focus is on calming techniques.
Correct.
So when we talk about calming techniques, so let's take certain situations. So a situation could, so Deepa, could you give me a situation faced by a child or an adolescent, a stressful situation, and then I will relate a breathing technique with it.
Exams.
Exams or even admissions into college, like you were talking about your son, and we are all, a lot of teenagers are very stressed out in 10th standard and 12th standard. Ke abhi kya, you know what, will I get into the college of my choice? And then if they don't, then how are you going to handle that? You know, sometimes as parents, we also get so disappointment, we forget ki the disappointment is for the child and we are here to help them handle it. We forget it in our own disappointment. So that becomes a little imperfection, I think, that we need to deal with in ourselves first.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll again divide this to make it slightly easier for people to understand. As one is immediate, you want to do something immediately, now itself. And the other is something which you can practice for a long period of time on a continuous basis. So let me start with the immediate one. So immediate one is somebody called me. I picked up the phone. I heard a bad news, or I heard something which I was not expecting. And after hearing that, I'm slightly unnerved.
Yes.
I feel as if I'm going to break down. I'm going to cry, or I'm angry. And these kind of emotions, a mix of emotions is like happening inside me. And maybe my mouth has gone dry because I've heard some, a kind of a news where my mouth has gone dry. Right. And I'm not feeling very good about it. What can I do? There's no friend around now. There's nobody who can help me. Right. So who do I approach? Now, this is the time you simply do this activity, wherever, whatever position, it's okay. Simply take a very deep breath. What is a deep breath? A long breath, something like this.
Long deep breath, okay?
Yeah, so long deep breath, just to observe my chest position. You'll see when I take a long deep breath, this entire position expands. You will feel that expansion. See. Fill in your chest. Don't hold the breath now. Now, what is the second thing you do? We want to release it. Now, release from mouth. And see, as I release, my expansion came down. Yeah. See, and I'm going to do it again, and you can do it along with me. So breathe in. And breathe out from mouth. And you'll be able to hear the sound also. I'll be slightly closer so you can see, because I'm going to open my mouth as wide as I can, and I'm going to, so it's not a lady spout kind of a thing, kind of fish kind of a thing.
Selfie.
Pouting selfie.
Yeah, you got to throw that air out instead from your nose, and this is going to give you immediate relief. Let's do it only for 1 minute, and I'm going to ask both of you how you felt. If you want, you can keep your eyes shut. You want, you can keep your eyes open. Let's start. Okay, breathe in. So how does it feel?
It's like an instant calming feeling. Instantly. It's like your voice also becomes soft. Your thoughts become calmer. Your mind becomes at ease. Yeah.
So what have you done physiologically? You brought in as much as oxygen you could bring. The process of deep breath is slow. Fill in the entire chest capacity, lung capacity with as much as oxygen. I'm not saying air, oxygen, because that's the life force. And when you open your mouth, because you've got only very two small tiny nostrils holes here, so with your whole mouth, when you're doing like this, you're throwing out the entire carbon dioxide, which is toxic. So you're bringing out the toxicity, and immediately, physiologically, it calms you down.
Right.
Now, this is to be done only for 2 minutes, and then it's done. Now, what you can do is take water.
Drink it, yeah.
Hold it for some time. Are you gargling? Is that what's happening? Slowly you're taking
very
it.
slow, very slow.
It's like a forced
We never do this, right?
mindfulness. Yeah.
We gulp water.
Slowly sit. When you do this, sit. Don't stand. Sit. This is your bottle or glass, whatever. Fill your mouth with water, as much as water.
It always says never stand and drink your water. Always sit and do it.
Yes. Yeah. Sit. And then take in, one drop of water slowly inside. Do this 2-3 times. Gone.
So what you're doing is you're mindfully forcing yourself to calm down. Like even though your body and your very crowded mind is like struggling to keep up with that stress, you are forcing it to say no. You need to walk away from it and come to that relaxed state, because that's when you will be able to think more rationally and you'll be able to even arrive at solutions if there's a problem.
And let's say if there's no solution, at least you'll be calm. At least you'll not be agitated. At least you'll not be disturbed. At least you will not be what to do. You'll calm down. When you bring so much of oxygen inside you and you remove that carbon dioxide, your body is totally enriched and nourished. And now the brain functions in the best capacity.
That's true. This is an amazing technique to use when people are getting very stressed, like especially during exams, children stress so much.
And
they get overwhelmed.
With water, I'll tell you why we are doing this. Because whenever you are in stress, there is hyperacidity which happens in your stomach. Your stomach releases hydrochloric acid. So when you take water, it is a great neutralizer. It neutralizes that acid, what we call that pit. It neutralizes it.
Very nice. Excellent. That's a great tip. That's a great tip, Shipra, and so easy to do. Very easy.
Yes. And for continuous process, and for continuous process, you don't need to do this. You need to keep your mouth shut and simply need to take a deep breath and simply need to exhale it out from your nose. And you can do it for 5 minutes.
So this is a scenario when it is when it's an instant, when there's a big problem and it's an instant thing. That's when you do it, right?
It's like, let's say instant. Now next is my turn for my practical exam, and my viva is going to happen, my interview, and I'm getting very nervous, very jittery kind of. Oh my God, what is going to happen? So at that point of time, when you're getting very jittery, then this is another thing which I would like to say: keep a small toffee with you. An eclairs, and that's just a glucose thing. Put it in your mouth. The moment it melts, some kind of tension goes away. But that is not to be done always, right? But that is what you can do, right? And because most of the time, whenever you are waiting for some big interview, some kind of a viva to happen, and it happens to us also, right? Oh my God, I'm going to go on the stage, and then your mouth goes dry. Why has your mouth gone dry? Again, that flight, fight, fear. It's because of adrenaline. Because it's basically prepared your body to take care of that situation. It's your response. So take in that little bit of toffee, and then wherever you're standing, simply do this, and you're set. You're absolutely done.
So what's so that's for something which is a lot of pressure, and instantly you need to calm down. That's one. Is there any other scenario that we can use this in?
So it's basically for like high level of irritability.
High level of irritability.
And anger, right? And I'm like, you're so angry in what to do. And at that point of time, drink water.
Yeah. So basically we are saying don't react, but respond. And this is one way to
Exactly.
respond. You respond to this way.
When you take that 10-15 seconds break, but then you can't take that 10-15 seconds break. If I tell you that take that 10-15 seconds break, think and respond, nobody will do that. But if I give you something to do,
To do, yeah, I think the human body
Yes.
is like that. It give when you attach yourself to some other activity, the distraction is very welcome.
So when I give them a drink water, so then it will take away your steam.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
And when I say, take sass like this and do like this, then of course it is going to dissipate your steam.
Yeah. I love all of these, and I love the fact that we can do these ahead of time. We can start in these practices ahead of time when children are young itself, so that first of all, we're empowering them when they're older and when we are not there during times of stress. But also when we are there and we say, hey, let's breathe together. Let's drink a quick glass of water. Let's take a minute off and, help ourselves. They are not going to say, God, I'm freaking out and this mom is like trying to calm me, because that tends to get them angrier, right? So we have to say, we've got to start this when the situation is not dire, so that when the situation is dire, they are willing to listen to us. They are already tuned to listen to what we're saying. Loved all of your tips, Shipra. Thank you so much. In the middle of your crazy days and your trainings and your back-to-back meetings, you made time for us and our children and told us that even if we are imperfect, there are 2 or 3 things that we could do to help our children handle their stresses better and help us handle our stresses better as well. So thanks so much, Shipra, for coming on with us.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you for inviting me to be here and allowing me to share little pearls of wisdom which I've accrued.
Absolutely, and we'd love to share more so that we can share it on our Facebook page as we post this next Wednesday. Thank you, Shipra, and please send us all the links that you want us to share with our parents, because I'm sure there are a lot of parents who may want to reach out to you directly for this fantastic work that you do to de-stress. And I think your work is so pertinent in the world today. So thank you so much, and we'll see our parents next time yet again for another episode of Imperfect Parenting. Bye.
Bye.